Hi, I'm Richie Mackay.
And I'm Davey Bolt, and you are listening to the Wrongbias podcast.
And welcome to show 58 of the Wrongbias podcast. Now, is he English? Is he Scottish? Who knows? But we are joined by James Rippey. Get your tin hats on, folks, because Bolt is let off the leash. Is it Worthing or is it Leamington for the big fella? We take a quick look back at the new Family Pairs that took place recently at East Leake. As always, many thanks to our sponsors, Bowlswear Direct, Lean to Succeed, and our streaming sponsors, Rent and Wealth Management, and it's a warm welcome to one of our new sponsors, Brilliant Auctions. And welcome everybody to more Chit Chat, show number 58. I don't know whether that sounds too good, really, if I don't say it right, does it? Chit Chat.
Chit Chat.
Chit Chat. He says, I'll be right back. Chit Chat from years. You're full of
plenty of chit chat from you two, boys.
Oh, no, I don't know if you can smell it. Anyway, mate, as the old outdoor season's finished, been plenty of international bowls. We had the European Championships, and England done quite well, Scotland done quite well. Little Danny Porter won the Para Pairs with Gary Brown. There's also been the under-25 international series over in Belfast, which Scotland came out on top. They won the lads and the lasses and the combined event as well. All the feedback about the events are good from the players, etc. How would you rate your outdoor season, mate? 1 to 10.
7.
7. That was 7. Were you happy with it?
Yes and no, mate. It was nice to be back. I've had a couple of issues over the last couple of years, so I haven't been able to put full seasons in, so it was nice to put a full season in and qualified in a couple, which was nice. Didn't quite get to where we wanted to when we were down there, but happy with performances and a decent season all in all, mate. That's probably why it was a 7. I would.
Well, if you've given yours a 7, I'm going to have to knock mine down to about a 4, even though I played caddy. 1 out, played canny. 1 out.
Just got high expectations of myself, Rich. That's all it is.
Well, it is, mate. That's probably my expectations and all 4. Craig Revelhall, 4.
4.
Very heavy-footed lovey. As you know, you qualified for the Balcom down at Leamington, and I made the trek down to watch us, and it was my first ever trip to Leamington. As you know, I'm always been a Worthingite because I've never been to Leamington. Give you me impressions. The venue, the size of the venue is deceptive. I think it's due to the green layout. It looks long, whereas Worthing, you probably had looked bigger at Worthing because of the green layout. You had the 4 greens and the one at the back. Leamington's got the 5. The main green, it actually looks larger on the streaming. When you get there, feels very enclosed. Stands bigger on the streaming as well, but they're a great addition. Greens look well. The catering, a few said they were a bit pricey, but I didn't think they were pricey. I think it is what it is. You pay that outside of the sport anyway. So no complaints with that one from me. Well organised, well supported, mate. There was the bulk of them. There was a good crowd in. It's a bloody wind tunnel though. My God, is it not? Wind blew across that green for that bulk of all day. I don't know whether it's like that all the time or not, but it's a wind tunnel.
Particularly feel it, to be honest with you, on the green. I mean, you catch a bit of it, but it is obviously it's wide open, isn't it? So you're going to get a bit of wind, but I mean, same as you, to be honest with you, mate. I mean, that was my first year down seeing the Aviva sponsored event. I couldn't agree with you more, mate. I think the venue, the setup was fantastic, to be honest with you, and I'm the opposite of you. I've always said I prefer Leamington, and it's purely and simply for the travel. The greens are the greens.
The greens weren't great. I mean, you got shoved out on that green out the back. It was like a bloody ploughed field.
They used to be pretty good when I first got down there, or maybe it was just that whole getting down to nationals and getting onto greens that we probably weren't used to in the north. But I also remember the few times following that, when I was qualifying, they were in some cases starting to become unplayable with brown patches, etc., all over the place. And I've had this, like I say, discussion on numerous occasions, and those who prefer Worthing. But my own personal opinion, I think that event down there for England as a national stage for their national finals is outstanding. And to see some of the criticism and some of the crap that I read on social media just astounds me.
And it was at this point where Bolty slipped off the leash and away he went.
Really astounds us. And I've got to the point now where I look at some of the comments and I just go, do you realise that you just contradict yourselves over and over and over again? We want streaming, you get streaming. We didn't want to pay to get in, you didn't get streaming then. Yeah. So honestly, it's unbelievable. We'll touch on it a little bit more later on, because there's quite a few things on social media that, if I would say one thing about this season outdoors, for me, social media is the one thing that's driven me completely up the wall.
Yeah.
There's opinions, and you can say how you feel, but there's also just out and out sort of targeted crap thrown for no reason whatsoever, and have to have a go at everything that's said or everything that's done. Yeah. And I don't know if you see it, Rich, but honestly, it just infuriates me. Becoming a bit of a scourge on the sport, if I'm quite honest. Doesn't matter whether you had 100,000 quid that complained because they didn't have 101,000 quid. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah. I mean, we're critical. I mean, we're going to do this as a separate subject, but now we're into it, we might as well carry on. I criticise them. But in the same time, you can criticise, but you've also got to praise when things are right. And that's the thing that I find difficult to comprehend. That because, I mean, both Scotland and both England get it in their neck, left, right, and the centre of the day. The damned if they do, the damned if they don't. Yes, okay, they get a few things wrong, and yes, okay, they get a few things right. But the critics that criticise them never say, oh, well done on the things that they get right. Yeah. And that's the bit that really knocks me about the sport at the minute. It's just constantly gloom and doom, and they don't highlight the good. Yeah, be critical, but if you're going to be critical, you've got to praise as well. Otherwise, you shut up.
But some of the same people, mate, who were critical of the event and saying it's a, blah, 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 it's this, that, and the other, negative. There was a fantastic Middleton semi-final match on, which our neighbours Northumberland against Buckinghamshire, I believe it was. And all of the feedback out of that, unbelievable. This is exactly what, bowls should be about. And it's the same people who've previously been critical who, well, make your mind up. It's, for me, it's the equivalent of all of these football managers who stand in football stadiums and absolutely berate players, berate the manager, have a go. I would do this, I would do that, and I would do the other. If you didn't like it that much, didn't spend your money and didn't go. Use your feet and vote with your feet. But yet there's quite a few people who are very critical about the national finals. You're going down there and you're going, oh, aye. Didn't expect to see you, were you? Considering all the rubbish you've been printing all over social media about it.
Yeah.
It's just frightening. And it is becoming a little bit of a really, really poor thing about this sport, and we wonder why the sport doesn't go forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there was a let's bring it up. There was a thing about the comms, the commentating, and what have you. Obviously, I was disappointed that JP got took off. JP was disappointed it got took off. It's understandable. But at the end of the day, it's a Bowls England product, and Bowls England can do whatever they want. They can get whoever they want on to commentate. Okay, was might be a bit unfortunate. The fella that got the hot seat was from hockey, but he did his best. If he said ball once, he said it a dozen times. But it gave other players an opportunity to come on, and some of them were great.
You know what it is, Rich? At the end of the day, Jason's our friend. He's a great friend, been a great supporter of our podcast for a long time. Fantastic commentator. No ifs or buts about it. He didn't get to do the Bowls England stuff. That was their choice.
Yeah.
So it's their choice. You move on. They brought somebody else in, and because of who they brought in, who, me personally, I listened to them, and I think we had this discussion before. I associated with watching the Olympics, and Claire Bolden was sitting with the two swimmers, Becky Adlington and Mark, and she's sitting there. She doesn't know a great deal about swimming. I've never seen her with a cosy on, swimming 50-metre sprint. It's like she's there because she's a presenter. Yeah. She's there. A lot of, and this is where I come back to this group of people who just continually have a go. What about the other 95% of the bowls population who may want to ask the questions that he's asking, that, some of the better bowlers probably know about? And all that was happening was he was asking the questions and the experts were answering the answers. Yes, he might have been saying things wrong. Did it make any difference to bowls going up the green? No. Like we see all the time. if you didn't like listening to us, turn the sound off. It's like, it's their choice. They're paying for it.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they're providing it for everybody. And yes, it's great to hear good commentary. Yes, it's to hear knowledgeable things. But I had no issue with somebody coming from outside of the sport. What's to say that he doesn't go away and talk to other people about what the occasion was like and what the sport was like? And it's petty stuff all of the time. And there's a simple solution to it. As we've always said, didn't like it, you're getting your free stream, you're not paying for it, so switch the volume off and just watch balls. Just give it a rest. It's just becoming, as you can probably tell, a massive bugbear of mine.
They've tipped you over the edge, mate.
At the end of the day, do you know what it is? I know we'll talk about later on. That those Balls England staff down at those national finals grafted for 18 days solid to give everybody the event that they've got. And they've never stopped. Yes, they might make the odd mistake now and again, but who doesn't? Who doesn't make mistakes? And especially in a high-profile type thing like that. Apart from everything else, it seemed to run as smooth as it can be. There might have been a couple of queries yet again about a clash of, somebody not being able to play in a team event or whatever it is. But the same argument crops up all the time. You're going to complain if they turn around and say, well, the only way to avoid clashes is you're only allowed to enter 4 competitions in a season. There'll be absolutely hell on. So just accept the fact that you can play in 55 competitions if you want to. And if you're lucky enough to qualify in 55, expect the fact that you're going to clash with something, because there's just no way around it. Aye.
Hereby endeth the man on his soapbox. Anyway, back to it. I gave Leamington 8 out of 10, mate.
Well, personally, mate, like I say, I do laugh, because when I see some of the comments, and I'll not say I was talking to, we were both like just shaking our heads, because you're getting comments from people in Wales criticising Balls England national finals and the streaming, and you say to yourself, hang on a second, I've just been watching some streaming from the Welsh national finals, and somebody running about like Annika Rice with a mobile phone in their hand, trying to do the commentary.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, who are you criticising? It's like, give it a rest, man. I'm going to be on a bit of a rant today, but the only thing I would add to that as well, talking about the Balls England staff, and I did talk to one of the staff down there, and I'll tell you what it is. People have got no idea how much effect that has on individual people, saying the comments against them when they're doing as much as they can to try and provide that national finals. One of them, and I'm not going to mention any names, took it really, really hard, and to the point of she had to basically just say the next day, I'm just going to ignore it. I know we're doing a good job, so I'm just going to ignore it. But people don't think like that. They think they're just talking to a computer, but there's actually people behind all of these critique and all of these things that they're saying who are actually taking these things to heart. And then, it's like people who are actually human beings rather than it just being typing on a screen. And this is the sad thing that we've come to in the sport, because people just think they can say anything they want, anytime they want on social media.
Yeah, well, fair dues, mate. The only thing I would say is the number of comments compared to the number of people that I witnessed watching this sport and enjoying it down at Leamington are a tiny percent, but it is, you don't get the positive comments on the feed. You always get the negative comments on the feed, don't you? And they're the ones that stick the most. They're like the old, you throw your sock at a wall and see if it sticks. And
the positives out of everything is the amount of people who was down there on a daily basis. People's whinging about having to pay to get in and whatever it is. And again, I see some people who I know go to football matches and pay 30 quid to go in and watch for 90 minutes football, watching 100 footballers getting paid 100 grand a week, and they'll criticise paying £8 to go in and watch all day for a national finals in your own sport, which is there to support your sport, which is there to fund the streaming and to do everything that you want. But if you don't do it, they'll whinge and moan about it. So, like you say, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Okay then, mate. We'll leave that one there.
Got James Rippey on the show tonight, who we saw his fabulous face on the social media recently, winning the Summer National Singles. So we thought we'd get James on. I've known James for many, many, many years. Do you remember going down to the Gateway Hotel in Nottingham, James? I think it was the first time we met. Was it the School of Excellence?
Yeah, well, was that when we had a whole netball team turn up in a hotel?
I was just about to say we were over the moon because a whole netball team came in, but then the downside was I ended up sleeping with you that night. So it all went best.
My wife always talks about you singing in the shower when we share the roots. The next room at Potter's, and all you could do was you singing full voice in the shower. So
I remember you saying she said I had a voice of an angel.
Something like that, yeah, something like that.
I'm always quite intrigued with these summer nationals as well. Don't sort of mix the seasons. I might play the odd game of indoors now and again whilst I'm outdoors, but the summer nationals, mate, it just seems to be sort of picking up on a yearly basis. Have you seen an increase in entries over the last few years?
Yeah, so I've been in the last 2 years. So made it up in the singles and pairs last year. Lost to Mr. Hartley in the semi-final. Well, he didn't just lose; he absolutely annihilated me. But it was a dodgy rink, according to me anyway. But I would say so. This year, I think there was probably one extra round in the singles, but the same for the pairs. But I was chatting to Louis right out at the weekend, and we were saying like in his area, there's like only 3 rounds to get through. For us, I think it's only to win the nationals. There's like I think it's one less round than the full thing. So for the pairs, it was 8 rounds in total. For the singles, it was 9 rounds.
So what's the basis of you playing them summer nationals then, James? Is it just because you played outdoors, didn't you?
Yeah, I think the last time I played outdoors, you beat me, and I think that was enough. I chucked it in.
Well, I'm not surprised, to be honest with you.
Understandable.
Once you've lost against me, there's no way up after that. That's just downhill all the way then.
I'm not. I played at a certain greens for the new national finals for the first. I hadn't played outdoors for a few years due to kids. Came back outdoors, got to the finals at Leamington. I didn't enjoy it. I found it too much of a push for me, and I said, well, it's maybe as you get older, your memories fade. But I always remember Worthing being really quick. Might be tricky as hell, but it was quick. I enjoyed it. So that was it for me. And then a bit of pressure at home. Play a lot more indoors in the winter. Pretty much had to choose summer or winter, so I chose the winter.
Prior to you coming on, James, we've just been having a chat about the Worthing and Leamington, and it was Richie's first time down at Leamington to come and watch us in the Balcombe. I'm very pro Leamington. This year for me, sea green especially, we played our pairs on sea green, and it was just lightning. It was flying. Right. So I think a lot of it depends on greens. There's 5 greens down there. We talked about the fact that, Worthing did used to be quick, but then the last 2 or 3 years, the greens, they were that quick because they were brown and patchy. They started to become very unplayable. So there's a lot of people who reminisce on the times at Worthing when the greens were really good. And I remember those days as well. But me personally, playing at Leamington this year, much better for me for travel, which I prefer. But I don't find the greens. There's the odd tricky rink now and again, but in the main, the pace is generally okay. It'll always be a question that's asked by a lot of people as to which they prefer. And I think I always laugh at the one where people say I used to love going down to Worthing because it was a holiday, and I just used to think, well, if there was anywhere I was ever going to go on holiday, Worthing would probably be about 5,050 on my list. But touching back on the summer nationals again, mate, obviously congratulations winning the singles and the pairs. So double up this year. Going to be you ongoing from now on? Is it always going to be indoors for you, do you think?
Yeah, it will be. I think maybe the greens around here aren't particularly good either. So look, I commute to work, so I think the 6 o'clock start. In Essex, it's still 6 o'clock start. It's Monday singles, Tuesday pairs, and it's every week. So you've basically got 4 nights a week minimum, and you're starting at 6 o'clock at night. So you either have to work it, play in a green near London so you can travel and commute, or you basically turn up at 6:30 earliest. For me, indoors you can pick and choose your nights. You can try and work at home. You can do whatever. At least it's not mandated Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
To be honest with you, we've had this discussion as well, and Richie will probably come on this. Outdoors for me, it's a frustration for probably 60% of the season because, especially in our area as well, the greens are not great at all. It is an absolute heave, and it is nice if you can qualify down to those national finals because you do actually get to go down then. And maybe again, that might be just one of those things. We get down there and those greens are a lot quicker than a lot of the stuff that we'll play on up here. So it's nice to actually feel what you're doing and playing balls. But for me, outdoors is now just becoming a case of it's great to play with your mates and it would be great to win a national title with them. But the rest of it, all the surrounding stuff is not the most pleasurable playing balls at times.
Especially with the council greens up here. I don't know whether is it all private outdoor down here where James are?
Yeah, there's a few council greens, but they're mainly private.
See, that's the trouble that we've got. We haven't got the private clubs. We've got possibly one private club, and the rest are all probably council greens. And there's no such thing as a greenkeeper. He just goes on, cuts it, and see you later, mate. It can get frustrating, and I can understand why you've probably decided to play indoors rather than the outdoors, because the outdoors can be trying, shall we say.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know much about him, and then my partner Paul Maynard, he turned around, he said, "Do you fancy going in the pairs? We've done well in indoors together," and he's like your best mate. So I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then he said he would travel over to Falcon. We'll play from Falcon. So he lives in Aylesbury. It's a fair old travel. It's probably an hour and a half on a good night. and then on a bad night it's 2.5 hours. So we did it last year. He skipped it last year, played really well, but I just didn't know what to expect. And I think last year the entries were definitely lower because we didn't have to play so many. But what I found with it is you might get 1 or 2 games that you probably wouldn't get in the winter, where it's maybe 2 new bowlers coming together and they may not be confident enough to go in the winter comps. But then it's exactly the same faces you play. In our area, it's exactly the same people you play. And I would say probably 75% of them, they're just full indoors now who are playing in those summer comps. Then you get the occasion who are doing both. So the guy I played at one of the area finals, he said, I was outdoors yesterday playing a club final. I was like, really? But yeah, I'm just not good enough to do that. Geez.
I think the worrying thing is he turned around and said, this indoor grain's slower than my outdoor grain. That'll be the worry.
If he's played at Falcon, he might be actually quicker outdoors than it would be at Falcon.
Falcon supposedly a bit slow at the minute, I've heard.
Yeah, new carpet syndrome. It'll get there, I hope.
About 2 years' time, let us settle. Just needs tightening up.
We're 3 years in this year. Yeah, it is a leveler. I mean, you get all the quality touch bowlers come over. I mean, last 2 years we've been Denny semi-finalists from the Falcon, and that's purely down to our home venue, where you've had all the big teams around here go there. They send their good players to Falcon, and they're getting smashed up by good club bowlers, but they come off pulling their hair out saying, what's that all about? So I play away all the time.
But James, have you never heard of the saying? Well, it's the same for both of you.
It's such a home advantage if you play there. That's the problem. You got people the people we put at home, they play there like 5 times a week. They're there all the time. They're so used to it. It's the people who just come in for a decent quick green and they really struggle.
So I know the international series was there last year as well, wasn't it?
I think they stretched it 4 ways, like a week, 10 days beforehand, and it was better. But it is what it is. It's the underlay around the carpet.
So I mean, just touching on Paul as well. You mentioned it there. I mean, you've got a really, really good record over the last few years, haven't you? Qualified to the Worlds on 2 or 3 occasions, is it?
3 years in a row. We obviously missed 1 year. We didn't get together because of COVID, where I got an invite and he didn't. He wasn't very happy about that, but otherwise, yeah, 3 years in a row we qualified. And then I don't know if you saw this weekend. I went in with a guy I won the indoor pairs with just as a last minute. I didn't have a partner last minute, and then the next weekend I feel bad. I do feel bad. I'm laughing now. So next weekend we'd gone in, or this weekend we've gone in pool, and Paul was like, "Oh, let's play together in pool." And I said, I had to bet it for. I said, "I'm really sorry, mate, but yeah, you're gonna have to find someone else."
I mean, I did see it. And I also had a bit chat with Sam this week, and obviously Sam was over the moon because Sam loves to lose. He's always really positive when he loses.
Yeah.
I had a chat with Sam. I mean, Sam obviously qualified in the singles the day before, and I hadn't realised when I saw that you had won it. I hadn't realised it was Sammy and Louis that you'd beat in the final. But obviously, congratulations on that one as well, mate.
Yeah, it's always nice to beat them too. I tell you, you don't get that. I think we've had this chat at national finals. You've either got to rink up with a really strong pair, triple and four, to get anywhere near them because of it's just quality whenever they play. But yeah, it was really nice because Jack and I played against Louis in the Open Pairs final when he played with Perry. And you never know if it's going to be different, but it was one of those weird games where I absolutely smashed off the park in the first set, 7-1 down, 6 ends. Next end, I played a runner, missed, dropped a 4, so you're 4-0 down after 1 in the second set, and then managed to pull one out the bag to get 1 on the board next end. And then I said to Jack, just shorten it right up, just like we'll try something, because Sam never misses. Doesn't have his long, medium, short, but Sam never misses with runners. And then we never looked back. I don't think we dropped another shot. And that includes a 2 tiebreak. We kept them out on the tiebreak as well. We kept it short and we won every end.
Yeah, when I talk to Sam, he's always very sort of detailed in what happened in the game, and he says you got them on a length where they were just struggling to get anything with you. And he sort of said himself when they got the 4 on the first end, his thoughts were get 2 more of these ends and we're home and dry like. And he says it just never materialised. Like, always a great scalp beating them 2 boys because they've been together for such a long time, and they're a tremendous parent.
Yeah, look, it's funny. Like I think Les Gillett messaged me, which was really nice for him. And I think I've done 5 out of the last 7 years in the pairs at the Worlds. I think my singles record's crazy. It was stupid. I'm sure it's 6 now in the last maybe 9. So it'd be nice to get 1 more anyway. 1 more at Potters, see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. I'm quite enjoying sitting in the lounge position, smoking a big fat cigar, watching all of you boys slog it out to try and qualify. Since I managed to get through in April, it's quite nice watching all you lads struggling through.
Yeah, I must admit I didn't read the emails properly because I've last 2 years in a row I've qualified in the Scottish. And Richie, you were there down at where was it? Was it Maidstone?
I was Desborough, wasn't it?
Desborough,
You played Sean. You played Sean in the fact it was a cracking final and all, mind you.
I didn't read the emails and I didn't realise that the qualifying for the Scottish had stopped. Basically, so I didn't enter any in April, thinking that I'd still have a chance to qualify in the Scottish in August. If I'd read the emails, I would have realised. But obviously, I was determined to go for 3 years in a row, but it didn't quite work out this time. You know what it's like? I think the PBA now, it was so hyped. It was like the old OSCs where it was so hyped. If you didn't enter within like a very short period of time, an hour and a half, 2 hours, you weren't getting in. And I was working that day. I remember someone messaged me saying, "Hey, have you entered?" And literally Bromley was still going, got in Bromley, and then Poole, there was only 10 places left.
James, we'll stick you in the women's match play.
Yeah, there was some spaces now. Yeah,
about 96, I'm led to believe, still going. 96, stick a skirt on, we'll call you Jamie.
Well, I've got the skirt in the loft. I can always put that on. It's all right.
Jemima. We'll go with Jemima. That'll be it.
Jemima.
That's what I was calling you the night we were down at the Gateway Hotel in Scotland.
Hey! Too much information.
You're obviously sitting in front of the Scottish shirt and the English shirt there, mate, which is nice to see. You're what's the plans going forward international? Are you still wanting to try and make the teams, or?
Yeah, you always want to. I mean, I went up to Falcon last year and watched it. It is the pinnacle of any sport playing in international. But the atmosphere was good. It was the quality of balls was good. You know, you always hope you can still do it. I'll try again anyway.
Rich, you led at this bit though, but who would you prefer to play for, mate? Would it be Scotland or would it be England?
He's got very quiet, hasn't he? He's got very quiet.
He's watching right now. He's never said a word.
Have you noticed he's swinging in his seat very rapidly at the minute?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
He's uncomfortable. We'll move on. We'll move on. Anyway, I unearthed the video of you. There was a thing on the WBT, and there's like a video montage.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it? Now you played a ball against Johnny Ross. Can you remember it? And it was an absolute worldie, mate. And that was on a par with Nicky Brett.
Describe this ball for us, because I don't think I've seen it.
It was a tie-break, actually. I was 1-0 up in the tie-break. I think he had a front knocker, and literally it was back in the days with that backhand going down with the crowd on. It used to it was a massive swing back then. And I couldn't really play with any weight to it. So literally, it's shot to nothing. I just drew it. Yeah. He's got a front knock, and I've come round the front, pulled the jack, and then fell down. It was good. And that day, there must have been 30, 40 people up watching, like locals. It was some atmosphere. It was really some atmosphere.
Yeah.
I remember that day because it was my second time there. I'd been there the year before playing Nicky. And it was just too much for me. That was first time there. I didn't know anything about anything. And then when I drew Johnny, I think Johnny was just towards it. I think he was 15 at that time, or maybe 13, but he was getting towards 16. Yeah. And you always look who you get just to get have I got a chance here? And I think the year I lost to Nicky, he won it. The year he won it, and he just destroyed me on the green. And then when I played Johnny, I said, right, guys, come up and watch this. It'll be a good laugh. And Johnny's a good player. And get to a tie-break, play a ball like that. I won't forget that in a hurry. Yeah, I remember.
No, you signalled to your fans as well. I was saying that as well. When you walked halfway down, you pointed over. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a few wins up there. We've done well in the pairs as well over the years. I mean, we beat Les and Jason, maybe 3 years ago, and then they beat us the last time we were there. So it's once you get on that single rink where it used to be, you used to qualify out the front, but now I think by the looks of it, they're putting all the people on the single rink, so you get a chance straight away, which is good. Right. Which is good because you don't want to travel a long way and then suddenly you're on the bowler's bar.
You're out the back.
There might come a time where you're always trying to obviously improve the World Championships, and you're trying to introduce more countries to come in, and in the nicest possible way. There was some games last year which were really, really hard. They were a hard watch without any disrespect for players, because they've all qualified to get there, but we'll know the games in question. There was just times where it just wasn't a great viewing spectacle. So it may get to a point where, to increase those numbers, to increase the amount of countries that are coming through, you might have to revert back to a little qualifying system on the outside rinks. But what we're certainly trying to do is just make sure that everybody gets that experience of the single rink when they're there. You know what it's like, James. If you don't get that experience on there, the first time it's done, you play all the wrong shots, and as soon as you come off, the seed goes, I can't believe you played that shot, and that shot. Did you not know you kind of play that on that? And you went, well, you could have told us that before the game. Thanks, Nicky. Yeah, cheers.
I completely agree. And you've seen some different levels from people qualifying, and it can be really tough. I mean, it's really daunting when you turn up there and you've suddenly got a few hundred people. So, maybe a couple of them are snoring away, but in the main they're watching, but they're right there, and there is no way to hide out there. If you're having a bad game or you're struggling a little bit, you don't want to be there.
I think the draw's coming out in the next couple of weeks as well, so we'll probably start to see who's going to be paired up against the seed from whichever venues they qualify from. So I'm just waiting on Stewie Anderson or something. I might as well.
Les Gillett, they reckon he's booked an extra week in.
All the seeds just keep their fingers crossed that they draw me first round, because they know they're good.
Right, mate. We made the trip down to East Leake for the GBBA. Jason's going to pull his hair out because he hates it when I say that. The Great British Bowling Association Family Pairs. The event went really well. It was a good weekend. The only thing that spoiled it was probably the weather during the final. Congratulations to Rod and Jonathan West, and commiserations to Ben and Dan Salmond. Most hats off to the Ring 66 lads. Gave out loads of shirts, loads of merchandise. They were very impressed the way the event went, and I'm led to believe that they've confirmed that they're going to do it again next year. Did have a word with Jason about the formation of the GBBA. He basically says it's not in competition with any of the national governing bodies, which, open debate. But he also takes on board that a lot of the competitive bowlers do like to enter national competitions, obviously within Bowls England, Bowls Scotland, and a lot of the club bowlers enter it to get the medal badge, which I think is quite right. It is the highlight of many club bowler to qualify for your national finals. He does take that on board, but he has got plans for it. He's got some ideas. The idea is to make it a different option, something different from what's on offer at the minute, which is fair dues. I was just relieved to get the streaming out. He asked us to go down to the streaming ages ago, and I know that there have probably been a few people who have wanted to see it fall on the face. So I was delighted just to get it out for Jason and that it was successful. And we didn't get electrocuted because the club put us under a gazebo, which was great on the Friday night because it was red hot. But Saturday, it was miserly. That fine rain got heavier and heavier as the day went on. And Jason was sitting, we were commentating, and we got all the electrics out. And he said, I'm getting wet here. And we're looking up. So stuck the brolly up to keep the rain off under a gazebo. And we said, what's wrong with this gazebo? And we cottoned on. It was a summer gazebo. So it was actually mizzling through the gazebo onto us. And I looked under the table. There was a little river flowing towards the 4-gang plug. I'm going, I can see me dying here. No, it went well, mate. It went well. It was nice to see. It was something different. And big hats off to the East Leake club who looked after us. Looking at the sport overall, Jim, do you think it's in a healthy position? Anything that could possibly improve going forward? Something you'd like to see improve?
I don't think it's in a healthy position. I think membership, especially since COVID, a lot of clubs' memberships haven't recovered. And look, there's always going to be competitive and there's going to be non-competitive. Now, some clubs are very mixed, but that's very rare. As I see it, you're probably going to lose a couple of clubs over the next few years. I mean, I've had the privilege of both sides, north and south of the border. I mean, some of the clubs in Scotland are really, really small. You're talking about 15 to 30 members keeping it afloat. And even technically my hometown club, Dunoon, there's a little 4-rinker that I played for. The membership are trying to get it back up. But again, it doesn't matter where you are, how big the county you are. There's not many clubs that are increasing in membership.
Yeah.
I think you can see that. I think there's a few out there. I think Andy Napper's doing it. I don't know. That'd be a worthwhile having a chat with Andy. I mean, he's posting how they're attracting members. Falcons in a really good position. We've got thousands of new houses all around it, and yet we've attracted 0 members from those.
Right.
So we're doing something wrong. I don't know whether it's the stigmatism. Or people just don't think it's approachable. People turn up and they're greeted by, maybe a 75-year-old who's saying, "What are you doing here?" rather than an open house with a bar and whatever. I managed to go out to Oz last year for the Aussie Open. The way their clubs are run is very different, but the structure is they run it as a business. It's not really a bowls club. It's a business. They make money from the bank gambling. It's just structured very, very differently. I think if you look at most of the clubs, they're governed by a committee, and that committee are usually 90% retired people who have been accountants. They've done different jobs. But how are they going to really think about a business when they've come there to play bowls? It's hard for all the committees, but something needs to change.
There's one side that I agree with. Yes, we'll lose clubs, and my personal opinion, and I've said this within my role as well. Big believer that we probably need to lose some clubs. Pull me hair out when I say these comments all the time that the sport's dying, it's declining. If we don't do something soon, we're going to lose it. We ain't going to lose it in any shape or form. The sport is still third biggest sport in England. People don't know that, but the amount of people who play our sport, we are behind football and cricket, I believe, as the third biggest sport in the country. And it's trying to drive that whole... Andy Napper's doing an amazing job. And again, he's got it all right. He does the right things. They're introduced into the club. There's a load of things on there on a social aspect for people to be able to get their teeth into, get involved in. And it's not always just about the balls. It sort of ties in a little bit as to what me and Richie were talking about again before you came on, and something that's just really, really driving me up the wall is it's just the mentality of the people within the sport that is actually driving the sport backward. It's not the organisation. They can blame the organisations all they want and try and say, you're killing our sport by doing this, that and the other. But yet, it doesn't matter what happens, people still turn up and play balls. There's a lot of people out there that the sport doesn't even know about who actually play the sport because they will not affiliate all the members because they don't want to spend the money on affiliation. So there is hundreds, if not thousands, of members out there that aren't actually being recognised as the official figure of how many people play the sport because clubs don't actually register them because they'd rather save the £8 per person at the club than actually put it back into the sport to generate more things that affiliation brings, like loans for the clubs, like assistance through development, blah, 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 all of this. So I go on for that all along. Ultimately, what we also need to realise is we're in a completely different era to what, we certainly grew up in, and more so Richie. I mean, Richie was around when Francis Drake was tossing balls up.
Bit harsh, wasn't it? Bit harsh. I was leading in when the Armada was there.
It's a different world now. It's all technology. People want to do things, they don't want to do things for 4 hours anymore. It's like, I want to do something for half an hour, and then I want to get away. And these are the sort of the things that the organisations are trying to implement, is to try and capture that audience of people who just want to drop in and drop out. Days have been long-term members, and you see the clubhouse boards where chairman for like 43 years, and instead of just putting two dicks underneath the name, they put the same name every single year.
Yeah.
And you look at him going, Christ, I hope he wasn't the club champion, because he was like club champion for 45 years, and then you go, oh no, he was chairman. And it's like those days have gone, and we just need to accept that.
I think it's definitely moved on, even the last 5 years to 10 years. If you look at what we wear, I'm sure it doesn't fit anymore, Bolty, but I'm sure you've got a couple of blazers hidden somewhere.
Absolutely. I'll have you know that fits very snugly over my right arm, no problem at all.
But it's different, right? So the youngsters now coming through, they'll never experience the blazers. They'll never experience wearing. I mean, even whites now. I couldn't believe it. Essex did really well in the Liberty last year, and when we played for Essex, we had to wear whites. And I was like, I don't even know where they are. I've had to go in the loft because it's just black shorts, black trousers, like whatever you want to wear. Really, we are moving forward, and in theory, if we could attract younger members because of that, that's great. But it's then, what do the younger members expect?
Well, there's a question for you, mate, and this is one that I quote to a lot of clubs when I'm out and about with, and again, things that I read and things that I see all the time where people say, we need more young players in. It's the future of the sport. Do you think, bearing in mind, back in our day when we were 10, 11, 12-year-old playing the sport and we had to wear blazers and grey trousers and metal badges all over our blazers and just look like absolute gimps as we used to go out and see all of our schoolmates, do you think that the junior side of the sport is any better now with all of those changes that have been made with regards to kit, with regards to all of the, the bits and pieces with regards, you don't have to wear whites or blazers. Do you think it's any better now than what it was back in our day?
It's probably yes and no. right? There's a couple of, well, this is only my view. So, like my daughter, she's 16 now, but she started playing, and the opportunities for a 15-year-old girl, ridiculous. Like everyone's trying to say, "Hey, can you play? Can you play?" I would say when we were 15, yeah, we were about the same age actually. When we were 15, it was hard to play for the adults team. So again, that's moved on. I think that whole stigma, "Oh, you're too young to play," that's gone. But in a way, I'm probably going to sound like an old fart now, but by learning the ropes through whether it was formality, how to shake someone's hands, like the etiquette on the green, wearing your blazer to turn up smart, you had to be all in a team. That was something that taught you something that maybe you don't get now, where you see like everyone's turning up in a pair of shorts or jeans and slippers or whatever, and not that I'm against that, but it's just very different now. And if you had to wear a blazer tomorrow, you wouldn't think twice about it. But if you ask someone who started in the last 5 years, "Do you want to wear a blazer?" They just look at you like, "Are you crazy?" Wherever I've been, whether it's Scotland or England, there's a lot less juniors playing these days than there was. Now that's maybe just where I am, but it was like as I was you speak to Chris Young, you speak to some of the old boys from the under 25 days. We all grew up together. We were best mates, and like my wedding, I had all my ushers. Everyone was from under 25 days. That's how you friendships are still there, and now maybe it is still the same, and I'm just getting old, and you don't see it. I mean, I don't turn up to an under 25 game to watch it because I'd be looking at the weird old guy in the corner. What's he here for? You know what I mean? But maybe I'm missing the point. But the futures of keeping clubs going for a lot of clubs is still the middle-age friendlies. They're the middle-aged to old friendlies. They're the ones that you're not making huge amount of money, but you're bringing people in. They're paying for the meals. They're having if you play a Denny Cup over 4 games, that's not earning the club anything.
Yeah.
So maybe a couple of pints after the game, but it's not like, whereas a friendly, it's like fixed costs. They come in, they do it, and that's definitely gone downhill. Doesn't matter how big a club you are, the friendly side, whether you like it or not, just that constant guaranteed revenue in your club on a Saturday and Sunday, that's going. And we just haven't replaced that with someone that's bringing in revenue. But there's other ways, and Andy Napper's a great example of how to do it.
One quick one, mate. If you walked past a bowling green, say outdoors, would you be attracted to it?
You were a non-bowler.
If you walked past and there was a Middleton Cup game on, you'd stop and watch.
You say yes.
What's the noise about?
Yeah.
If you walked past and there was a club singles on and someone marking, you just sort of look over and then you probably walk on. I've tried over the years to get some people that I work with, and I've worked with some good people, and they say, "Come and watch this game," and they'll say, "What game do you want?" They always want to come and watch. You say you play bowls, you want to come and watch. And I'm like, "Well, don't come and watch that one because it's going to be boring." Or it's one, and then you'll get them to a Liberty game, or you get them to a Middleton Cup game, and they'll have a few beers, and they're like, "This is actually really good." But if you get them to go watch a singles mixed pairs or something, it's sometimes not the most interesting game to watch, is it?
27 up handicap.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Northern Counties 2, Ballridge.
Northern Counties 2, ball. Yeah. I mean, obviously with us doing a bit streaming, we've tried to get the sport out the last few years, and the one thing that I've been hoping to do is the home international one, England Scotland, because that would be the best thing ever to promote this sport, would be that. And I still say that the sport will never ever get rid of the image that it's been labelled with since I've been playing. It's sad because it's the British media that have labelled it.
We're rich that you're ever going to get rid of that. Somebody comes in with £5 million and basically starts to put major competitions on where you can make a living out of the sport. And that is the only way it'll ever change. But unfortunately, we're probably a long way.
Either that or we'll have a Mankini singles. I don't know whether I'll keep the camera behind, mind you. I might have to flick between the camera angles. We'll have different size Mankinis though, large, medium, small, extra large.
I'm going to have to shave my backside, aren't I?
Too much more, James.
Jesus.
Jeez. Anyway, James, hell of a day today. Mind weather, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Used to have shared a room, so you'll know what his backside's like.
I must admit, Richie, I didn't study it that hard, to be honest, mate.
I was expecting you to do that planes, trains, and automobiles sketch there. Anybody see the football the other day?
Hell of a game.
Fantastic game, yeah. Great stuff. James, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've been a great guest, mate. It's good to have a bit chat about, obviously how you're doing in the sport and various things, and also it's always good for us as well to just talk to those involved about what they think about where the sport's at and where it's been and where it's going to as well. And you've said a lot of really good stuff. And yeah, we'll obviously, like I say, we'll promise we'll edit it out and make sure that neither of the England or Scotland selectors.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah.
Know that you chose Wales as your preferred country of next international appearance. But,
Taffy.
Yeah. Great stuff, pal. Been a pleasure having you on. Always good to see you, mate. And I'm sure we'll see you through the season. Best of luck in your qualifiers.
Well, look, great to speak to you both.
You too,
Richie.
Thanks, James, mate.
Bobby, have a great season. I'll see you indoors.
Yeah.
Yes,
cheers,
mate.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Take care, pal.
Ta-ra. Right, there you go, mate. Another one over and done with. Lovely James Rippey. A wealth of knowledge about the sport, mate.
He's a great lad, like I say. He's a very knowledgeable lad. I've known him a lot of years. And
there's also some news coming out about the Commonwealth Games, the 2026. Glasgow have stepped into the breach to fill the void left by old Victoria. Now, the only thing is, of the 22 sports currently in the Commonwealth Games, they are only going to have 10. Mm-hmm. And bowls, obviously, is one of the founder sports and has been in every Commonwealth Games except one, I'm led to believe, where possibly Trinidad and Tobago, somewhere out there, they didn't have no bowling green, so they didn't have bowls there. And, of course, all the venues as well, apparently, have got to be within 8 miles of each other. Do you think the chances of bowls getting in, mate, or do you think we'll miss out to bloody breakdancing?
I'd be amazed if it's not, bearing in mind that, obviously, I would imagine the fact that Scotland are hosting it, I would probably say that bowls is probably one of their highest medal counts of some of the sports. And ultimately, they are going to want to have the opportunities to win gold medals in their own country. I would be shocked if it isn't. Time will tell. Nothing's guaranteed, but I would be shocked if it's not.
Yeah. I know World Bowls and all the national government bodies are all rallying around to get into one of the 10 sports. The Commonwealth Games is the highlight of the sport, as we know in the Olympics. And my argument is like golf, cricket and all that malarkey that try to get in the Olympics. It's not the highlight of their sport. The highlight of golf is your Open and your Masters and your Ashes for the cricket. And
I just think with bowls as well, mate, it's low cost. They're not going to have to
build a venue,
build anything, specific for bowls to take place. And I think all of these things are going to be taken into account because this is the whole reason it's in the position it is now, because of the vast expense that it is to actually host these things. So
fingers crossed for that one. Can you explain this to me? I've seen a bowler, when he puts his stickers on his balls, he has the big sticker on the outside and the little sticker on the other side. Why? Now, I played against a fella in a league game where he had a set of stickers on each side of the ball. Why?
Not a clue.
Why? There were different colours. One was red and one was yellow. If it was me, I'd be just chucking wrong biases.
I've got no idea what's going on there.
It's like you. It's like you and your bloody glove fetish.
Each to their own, is the old saying, I think.
It is each to their own. And my other one, mate, is a question for us because we had a few questions last time. Within a club, I would currently say that each club's probably a 3-tier. You've got your casual bowlers, your club bowlers, and your county bowlers. Now, if you're a county bowler and you're in one of those clubs, do you need to be pushed, as in good players behind you, pushing you on to strive to better things? I.e., like so the success that the Kent club has, is it Appleyard, and you've got possibly Kings down Devon, all the good players. Is it the fact that you're playing with good players progress you on, or?
I think so. I think it's again talking about sayings. It's no good being a big fish in a small pond, as they say. You need to be in and testing yourself. And I think we've mentioned this once before about there was a time for me I saw so much 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where we just went through an era where people would say, I'm not entering that competition because I don't want to be playing against the big lads, the pot hunters, the blah, blah, blahs. And we talked about back in the day when they were the games I wanted to play. I wanted to be playing against the best players, win or lose, because my learning from that was if I got beat 21-5 the first game, my next target when I played them would be 10, and I'd be looking to get to 15, and that's exactly how I went through some of me sort of learning as a youngster. And then once you got on top of them, it's amazing how many times once you've got them once, they're the ones who are chasing you after that. Yeah. So there's always been a case where a particular club in a particular area attracts all of the bowlers, like the top end bowlers who want to go and potentially have a chance to qualify for nationals, because as we've talked about, it's a massive pinnacle just qualifying in some cases, not just winning national titles. And for me, I think that's just exactly what we're seeing in Devon, in Kent. You've just got clubs of players who are just, every game, it's not just a case of turning up and playing your balls. You're being pushed every single game that you're playing, and you go through the motions. You don't get anywhere.
One thing that's just cropped to my mind, mate, AIBA competitions. Is it time to open up the Denny Cup? I've looked at the Denny Cup draw this year, and I've looked at the Women's Yetton Trophy. I've looked at the Egham, and it just seems as if we have groups of 4 teams, and they're just drawn against each other every year. And I just think it's getting a little bit stale.
In knockout team competitions, as far as I'm concerned, it should be just like the FA Cup, and you can play anybody. 2 things for me: open it up, and I've also, like I've said before, second round losers go into the plate, not your first round losers, because I'm sick to death of seeing teams just chucking games so they can go in the plate.
That's right.
But yeah, totally agree. It should be open. The Liberty should be wide open. The Middleton Outdoors should be wide open. The Balkans should be. All of these knockout competitions where it's a case of you might just play one game in a season. The worst case, you can get from top to bottom of this country in 5 hours, 2.5 hour drive to go and meet somebody at a neutral venue. Get to meet new people, talk to new people, promote the sport in a better way, get more people coming to different venues to watch the games. And that's probably why our audiences are dropping as well, because they're probably sick of seeing the same teams playing against the same teams over and over and over again.
I just thought I'd throw that one in. Not a criticism, it's just a little observation, shall we say.
Do I get to have one last rant before we finish?
You do, yes, here we go. And it's, hold on.
What on earth was all of that about after that under-25 season?
It was the key word, superb. That's what boiled everybody's hack off.
So because you turn around and say
superb series
performance, which was a general comment about, in my opinion, it's not superb in the respect of, oh yeah, it's superb because you've lost. It was superb in the fact of everybody gave their all on that weekend, and you gave a superb performance. And there must have been about 150 comments of people going on there, touching back on what I touched on earlier on. And again, some of the people who commented on there, who I went, seriously? Are you seriously saying what you're actually saying in your comment? Because I would have loved, if I was back in that position, to be able to actually go and say what I want to say. There is a few things and a few home truths that some of these people were commenting on there that I would love to turn around and say you've got a very, very short memory. But just touching on the fact of, because of one silly word, not a silly word, just the way it's been phrased, the berating, and yet again, I talk about there's a person behind making those comments, and at least that person at least try to come on and say, well, yeah, all I'm trying to say is, it was a superb performance by the team. They gave their all. It was great for us as a country. They haven't just gone out there and chucked the towel in. They've gone to try and win it, but just haven't managed to do it. That was how I read it. Everybody else is reading it as, oh, so now Balls England turn around and saying you're absolutely superb because you lose. Right. Honestly, I was like,
I know.
How my phone didn't go through the wall because of the amount of times I wanted to go on and comment about some of the things that were put on there. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
I quite agree. And fair play to, I mean, I know Emily Koenig, and there was a couple of the players came back and threw back at them, and fair play to them.
That's one of my other criticisms. Why should those juniors under 25s feel the need to have to go onto social media to justify the fact that they've worn the England shirt with pride and tried the best in a sport where you've got absolutely no control over your destiny?
Right.
They could have played out of their skin and been superb.
Yeah.
You kind of do nothing about the last ball in a game. And I thought the absolute criticism and the berating of that simple thing to make those juniors feel as if they have to go on and justify themselves. Some of those adults and some of those seniors who've been in this sport for a long time want to just go and look in the mirror and give themselves a slap in the face. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely disgusting.
It just highlighted what I always say, mate. We are our own worst enemies. It is. Well, we've been a right old set of grumpy old men.
Well, I don't care. I was looking forward to this podcast because I had sick of reading it. I wanted to say something, and I didn't care whether people like it, whether they don't. But that's my opinion, and all my opinion is based on hoping that somewhere down the line this sport goes forward.
Yeah.
Because as it is at the minute, it ain't going nowhere with the.
We'll finish on a high anyway, mate. Emily Koenig, absolutely fantastic season. I know she's an old woman now because she's over 25. She had a swan song in the under 25 series. She's just won the title that she wanted to win in the Waterloo Women's Trophy.
Women's, yeah.
She's been trying that for years, apparently. We're absolutely delighted for her. But it's ever since she's been on here, mate.
Well, I was just about to say, it's yet again another bit of pedigree of the fact that whoever comes on here wins things. So to finish on that high, what we probably need to do is get some of these people on social media to get on, and maybe they'll go away and have a happy life.
Oh, well, possibly, mate. Yeah. Every cloud has a silver lining.
We'll turn them as well. We'll get them there. But I would like to see any of them who don't agree with what I've been saying. I'd love for you to come on and have a little chat about it. If you feel like what we're saying is wrong, and you feel that the things that you're saying are justified, please do us a favour. Put your money where your mouth is and come on and have an open chat with us. Not an argument, an open chat, and we'll have a discussion about where you think the sport
have a good debate. Well, folks, hope you enjoy it. It's a bit of a rant at times, but it's,
boxing gloves off now.
He's calming down. He's calmed like a madman.
I'm a happy man, really. I'm just like a swan. My legs is going
uncontrollable. I'm the quiet one, Mr. Personality over there and all.
Not that I was going to win it anyway, but my HQ Bulls Personality of the Year Award's just gone straight down the
pan. You blew it, me. You blew it. Anyway, folks, we hope you enjoy it. Okay, cheers, folks.
Take care, Rob. Thank you for listening and hope you've enjoyed the show.
This has been a dodgy production.
Get up there. I've been waiting for 3 weeks for that.
I know you have.
Did it cut too much of it out?
I might cut James out.
Just put to be continued.
GBC, the special, the rant special. Jeremy Kyle, here you are out.